live. Why is it special? Well, a little thing called 4th of July is around the corner, and what better way to celebrate America than to talk about the captains of America?
Mm-hmm.
hmm You're here with me, Cryptid Zeker 415. Yeah, red, wine, and blue all the way.
Hello, I'm Kara O'Connor, alias Rydra. I'm guest starring on this video since I'm a Captain America and U.S. Agent fan.
Yay. Nice. Feel free to like and subscribe, and please leave a comment at the end of this video. How did you enjoy this? What do you feel about Captain America? Hey, did you know that there have been 9 established ones in history? Ooh,
Amazing, right?
yep. Did you all know that one person that worked at the Bugle, at the Daily Bugle, went on to become Captain America? Ooh, ooh,
Yeah,
yep.
I was surprised. I didn't even know it had been around for that long.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to it when we get to it, Sarah. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Before we get started, does anyone want to get out? Okay. Nope. All right, then let's just dive right in.
Yeah, look,
Starting.
sounds like it's just us so far, but we can hold it down, right?
We good. We good. All right. So let's go ahead and start us off with first, maybe it's a little bit debatable. We're talking about Isaiah Bradley. We're going to go in
Mm-hmm.
order of the caps, like talking about the order of the presidents, like going from George Washington to John Adams, so on and so forth. With Isaiah Bradley, we had a lot of discussions off screen about like should he be considered the first Captain America? Yes or no? Because he did get experimented on before Steve, as a
Mm-hmm.
matter as a matter of fact, even before he donned the Captain America suit, like a year after he already got experimented on, they already published Captain America's comics, and he's like reading it saying, "Oh wait, this is kind of like our story. Yeah,
Yeah.
we enlisted and we got experimented on. What the heck is this? You know?" Yeah. But I would like to think like even Steve Rogers want to acknowledge him as a first because it was he went through like a real horrific ordeal.
Yeah, it's
Um,
like a pro. If not the actual first Captain America, then he's a proto Captain America. Just set the groundwork.
exactly, before they tested it on Steve, like there were like about 300 something other soldiers of the same ethnicity that were being tested on,
Mm-hmm.
and the trials they went through. Oh man, a lot of them didn't make it. A lot
Like
of them had
deformities, death.
Yep. Yep. A lot of them had muscle expansion that expanded to the point of blowing up.
Mm.
And yep, that eventually led to like only about 5 people surviving. And these weren't perfected subjects. Like a lot of them still had deformities,
Yeah, they were
but they were
just surviving
ex-
subjects.
exactly. Even Isaiah, he wouldn't be considered like the perfect result of the serum because his serum did end up amplifying like some brain trauma in him later on in life.
Yeah.
But still, before he got up to that point, he was just about as every bit as capable as Steve Rogers.
Yeah, good
So,
man, courageous, fighting
yep,
oppression, all that.
yep. So, who is Isaiah Bradley, audience? Well, he was created by Robert Morales and Kyle Baker. First appeared in 2003 in Captain America: The Truth, Red, White, and Black. He is the grandfather of technically the second Patriot, Eli Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So yeah, there's a legacy to him.
Yeah, Brett, Eli, a member of the Young Avengers.
Yep. who, damn, sadly enough, a lot of people don't realize that there was a Patriot before Eli, which is kind of why I really wanted to do this video because we'll touch on him when we do, you know?
Yeah.
Mm
Yeah, a lot of things are forgotten or they're just not talked about, so
hmm. Mm hmm. That is true. Now, speaking about things forgotten, I mean, that's part of the reason why, like, you want to talk about somebody like Isaiah because, his history, as far as retcons go, this one, I would say it's a clean retcon because it makes sense of what happened at the time with someone like, Isaiah and the people who served in the military at that time, you know?
yeah,
Um,
I heard that this was inspired by a terrible incident called the Tuskegee experiments, which was
yep,
a study for treating uh, a
yeah,
condition, but they didn't tell people
yeah.
that they
The
had
mil-
this condition and they were being
the,
treated for it. So
yeah, the military didn't tell certain soldiers of an ethnicity that they were injected them with chemicals, you know?
yeah,
So yeah, that was a tragic real life story. And that's what was inspiring like the creation of Isaiah Bradley, with the super soldier serum, like a dark side of the super soldier serum,
yeah,
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 yeah. And keep in mind
because
keep in mind oh,
realistically, you
yeah.
would need to
Hmm.
uh, have a development process. You wouldn't just whisk up chemicals in a tube and, oh, it's the perfect super soldier serum.
Yep.
No, that you had to get to that point, and they chose a bad way
Bad
of
way.
conducting their experiments.
Yep. It got even more messed up when you come to find out that like these 300 something soldiers, like the military declared them killed in action. So
Yeah,
all their family members believe that they were killed during World War II, when in actuality they were being experimented on, and
yeah,
afterwards they were.
involuntarily, that because they didn't
Mhm,
say, "Oh, raise your hands if you want to try this experimental serum." No, they just did it. That's
mhm,
messed up.
exactly. To what else I was gonna say? So yeah, Isaiah being the only surviving member of this platoon, he did don the Captain America costume. He did go off to fight Nazis. Had a little sit down with Hitler himself.
Oh,
Unfortunately, yeah, yeah, like Hitler was trying to persuade Isaiah to join his side, but Isaiah was like, "If I do that, my wife will kill me." Like, that's true. That's true.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, he remained a prisoner of war throughout most of the war, and even when the Americans worked out a deal to get him back, they pretty much court-martialed Isaiah and put him in prison to kind of keep him as their little dirty little secret. They
Yeah,
don't want. Yeah, it will be
messed
a
up
long.
stuff.
Yep, it will be a long time until one of the presidents looked into the case of Isaiah and had in order that he be released.
Mm-hmm.
It's just unfortunate at the time he got released, like the negative effects of his version of the serum took hold and it started dwindling his brain activity.
Yeah,
Like,
the
yeah, it was supposed to
tragic
like.
stuff.
Yep, it was supposed to mirror something that happened with Muhammad Ali.
Oh, yeah,
Yep. Yep. And that was what it was based on. But, Isaiah, he still made the most out of his life. He
yeah,
was a big impact in his community. Like, of course, when Steve himself found out about this, he was heartbroken that
yeah,
something like this happened. This whole dark side to his serum, like this was his name, but more importantly, this happened to human beings. He he did everything he could to go track down Isaiah, give him the uniform that was meant to him. Like, there's no amount of words Steve could ever say that can ever make up for all the atrocities that happened to Isaiah. But He
He
wanted to
wanted
try.
to acknowledge him.
Hmm. And then you see like pictures of Isaiah, like throughout the years, like he did have a good life. At the end of the day, he met a lot of icons in the community, and by
Oh,
the
that's
end,
good.
yep,
I
he
heard
met
he
everybody.
became an icon himself.
Hmm.
They had the wedding of, I think it was Black
Yeah,
Panther and Storm and all these
yep,
heroes like Power Man and the Falcons. Oh, look who's here! And Wolverine. Who is that? So
yeah,
some of them realized his importance and some didn't. That's how it is with a lot of people in real
ex-
life, I think.
exactly, exactly. Like you had Luke Cage, like saying, "Dude, he is the first." Well, me,
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, because
hmm
he was experimented on too.
exactly. And they kind of had like, on the same grounds as the same powers. Similar
Yeah,
powers. But even being carried on by a wheelchair, like he just has the aura of respect from everybody.
that really does make him feel like Muhammad Ali because
Hmm.
you saw how people looked at him. It's the same kind of thing.
Hmm. That is true. A living legend, and that's the sort of respect you give to an actual living legend.
Yeah.
Hmm. So yeah, things were good for him. As far as like why he hasn't been really showing up recently in comics, this
Mm-hmm.
is this apparently there are some legal reasons as to why they can't use him. I think it
Oh.
has Yeah, I think it has to be in part due to the fact that his creator did pass away, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know what's keeping them from doing that, but I recall a comment made by Cantwell when he was writing Captain America. He was like saying, "I wanted to write Isaiah in it, but I legally couldn't." And I guess
Mm-hmm.
that and I guess that kind of bleeds over to his grandson, Eli Bradley. A lot of people
Oh.
are asking, yeah, a lot of people were like, "What the fuck?" When you had like this other kid, Rayshawn Evans, I think that was his name.
Oh
He
yeah.
became he became the new Patriot, and everybody's like, "Wait, well, what about Eli? Like, we never got a
Yeah.
panel." Of him." Yeah,
Now,
and
how are they able to use not Eli, Isaiah Bradley in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Did they get?
I guess
Uh,
that was a special stipulation. I guess
I
you
guess
know.
so.
Regardless, like his appearance in there, oh, that brought his book into what it should have been, which is a key issue.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Funny enough, I recall when I started my Captain America collection, right?
Yeah.
And when I heard of Isaiah, I really made it a mission to go find his comic because I wanted that part of his story to be in my collection of Captain Americas.
Yeah.
And yeah, this was at a time long before the MCU was a thing. As a matter of fact, I found his whole complete set in a dollar bin at a small time convention.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so small this was like at a hospital clinic. It wasn't that big or anything. It was just literally all comics being
Mm-hmm.
sold. No celebrities or signings or anything like that. I
Yeah.
was like looking through the Captain America section and damn, oh wow, I found like all the issues to the truth. Oh, I gotta pick this up.
Yeah.
And when you know it, that one appearance of him in Falcon and Winter Soldier, bam, that made that a collector's item from then on out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They won't be charging $1 for that nowadays.
Exactly, exactly. So, alrighty then. I mean, I think we discussed all we could on Isaiah, unless you have any final thoughts.
Um, I have heard that there are questions about continuity. Some people want to say, oh, it was before Cap and uh,
Hmm.
they not perfected, they developed the super soldier serum, and some say, oh, no, it happened after Cap. But my understanding was the original story was it happened before Steve Rogers became
Mhm.
Captain America. So if before anybody says anything, that's why we put him before. So there
Yep.
was some controversy about
Yeah.
continuity, but it is what it is. Oh,
Exactly.
also they told a real story.
Mhm.
So
That made
yeah,
sense.
they told a
That
meaningful story. You don't see, sadly, you don't see a lot of that anymore.
mhm. It wasn't being written for the sake of, like, finding another thing in Cap's origin to make a dark side too, you know? Like,
Yeah,
so mhm.
and
It
it
made
it
sense.
it doesn't feel like uh they talk about superhero deconstruction. It really doesn't feel like that. It just feels like you said, the
Like,
dark side, but not
pushing it, yeah.
right. Not telling a dark story just to tear things down. Telling a dark story to say, hey, sometimes dark things happen.
Mhm. Exactly, exactly, you know? Dude, when I still hope Marvel give out Isaiah Bradley Legends figure. Come on. I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
want to add that to my collection.
At
You
least they have
know?
hero clicks.
Exactly.
So there's that.
Gotcha. But anyway, with that, I think we should move on
Yeah.
to the next Captain America on the list, Steve Rogers.
Who?
Now,
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah,
I know, right? Now we're going to do something a little different here with Steve because who doesn't know who Steve is at this point? You
yeah,
know, he had a couple $1 billion grossing movies, the head of like $1 billion team superhero team movies. Y'all
yeah.
know the gist of who Steve is. But what we will say is we'll give some comic recommendations as to, from a couple of Cap fans.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. For me, I'll start us off. I would definitely go look at the Rick Remender run of Captain America. It played back and forth between looking at Steve's upbringings to where he is right now, because, like, both
Yeah,
situations, he's at a horrible time,
yeah,
Um, yep. As a kid, he had to take on a lot of responsibilities, more responsibilities than any kid his age should be taking. Between his father being a drunk, couldn't hold a job, to his mother literally working herself to death.
yeah.
Like Steve didn't have it easy. Like definitely not.
I feel
Uh,
that's an important part of the character too. There's a Silver Age story. The Skull has Captain America captured because it was during the Silver Age, but set during the Golden Age during World War
mm-hmm,
II. The Red Skull was telling him his life story, like, "Oh, I was an orphan who had to steal food, and I was in jail all the time." And Cap
mm-hmm.
told him, "A lot of people had tough lives. My early years were no bed of roses either." That's when you realize these two made choices. The Red Skull chose to be hateful and do terrible things to people, and Steve decided, I'm going to help people. I'm going to defend others and protect them. I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
stand up to oppressors. So, yeah, he made his long before he took the serum, he made the choice to be a hero. Said, I want to do good in the world.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has tough times, Skull. Doesn't mean you have to be a fascist dictator wanting to commit genocide to a whole group of people, Like,
There
so.
was a solid JJ video. He makes these um, funny videos of R-rated. I'd say a lot of them, but he makes these funny videos with comic book characters and cartoon characters. So
Mm
there was someone who assumed that Steve was
hmm.
a bigot because he was older. He said, "You're from the 40s," and Steve said, "Okay, but that doesn't mean everyone is an a-hole."
Exactly, you know? Like they have lives, they have problems, everybody has their own challenges, going forward in life, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
Steve can bust heads, but he's also compassionate, and it's those two things that help make him who he is.
Exactly, exactly. It's funny you should bring that up because that relates to like the Rick Remender run, right?
Mhm.
Where like, you had his it was talking about the story of him, when he was a child having to take on all these responsibilities and his mother
Yeah.
trying to tell him your father was a good man who let the bad of the world change him from a good man to a bad one.
Mm.
Don't let that happen to you, Steve.
Yeah.
And that relates to like, him in the position he is right now, because like, right now he's basically raising his son, Ian Rogers, in like
Oh,
one
yeah.
yep, in like one of the harshest environments you could think of, like an alien wasteland that's controlled by one of his arch nemesis, Zoa, you know?
Yeah, he didn't say, "F it, I give up." He
Yeah.
he stepped up to the challenge.
Exactly. I mean, there was a lot of good moments in the Rick Remender run. I mean, later on, he even has his kind of version of Superman versus Doomsday moment where he goes up against Nuke, which is a far
Mhm.
deeper
Oh,
battle
yeah.
than yeah, it's a far deeper battle than you would think because both of them are the faces of super soldiers from their eras. Steve being a
Yeah.
soldier from the World War II era, while Nuke was a super soldier from the Vietnam era. And like Nuke having like disdain for Captain America at this point because like him and the rest of our boys were had it real rough. Like in the war and then coming back, and he looks at Steve like your generation was treated as heroes. You knew nothing of what it was like. You don't know
Mm,
what we lost. And then Steve retaliating like, what we lost? How do you know what we lost? You think we had it easy? That was a piece of cake? War is hell. Is what Steve was trying to tell Nuke.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a
Um,
contest.
exactly, And this was a really horrible time for Nuke to be telling this to Steve because this is just right after, in Steve's eyes, he just lost his son. Like he got
Yeah.
shot in the neck and his body fell into what looked like acid.
Oh,
And
yeah.
keep in mind, Ian was like 12 years old at this time. So you're like, damn,
Mhm.
damn, he wasn't in a great mindset, but god dang, like you really see Steve getting put through the ringers here. But
Yeah.
there's so much more to talk about or explore in that run. But like, I just want to give that as my recommendation if you want to see a good Steve story. So what would you recommend, Sarah?
Well,
Ah,
2,
Sarah.
oh, there are a lot of
Sure.
them, it's hard to say, but, uh, well, first, I wish I could remember the name of that Penguin collection. Penguin put out a series, a trade paperback just recently of great stories, mainly from Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Steranko. So
Yeah.
those were really good. It, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of there's a lot of examination. There were there were stories set in World War II, and there were also some set in the present day when he's trying to figure out who he is, the man out of time,
Mm-hmm.
and just about everyone he knew is dead, or else he doesn't know what happened to them, like Peggy Carter. At the
Yep.
time, he didn't know what had happened to her because they got separated during a battle, and he hadn't seen her since then. So, like 20
Yeah, yeah.
years, he hadn't seen her, didn't know what had happened. So I'm going to tell two of my favorite collections, and they also double as U.S. agent collections, which we'll get to later, but that's
No.
convenient.
Yep.
One is, huh?
No, go ahead.
One is Captain America, Scourge of the Underworld.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's Cap against a villain who targets other villains. You see a lot about Captain America's abilities and his philosophies. One interesting scene, he spots this guy. He said, "Wait, I know that guy." He goes over and confronts him, says, "Aren't you Blue Streak?" Which was this
Blue Streak. Okay.
without spoiling a lot, he was a villain. The Blue Streak hauled off and tried to punch him, and Cap just casually caught his fist and kept on talking like, "Don't you punch me." Then there's it's lengthy but well worth it. Captain America, the Captain. What
Ooh, okay,
happens
okay.
in that one is there's this government agency, the Commission of Superhuman Activities, that tries to regulate these superpowered figures. They tell him,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, we don't want you to be Captain America anymore unless you agree to operate under us and follow our orders." He said,
Mm.
"Well, I can't do that." So he steps down. They made him relinquish
The
the
shield and the costume.
the
Yeah.
shield. So he steps down, and they pick a replacement. Well,
Mm-hmm.
Steve Rogers, he's just not going to sit around twiddling his thumbs. He decides, well, if I can't be Captain America, I'll still serve the country my own way. He basically became a vigilante, and
Mm-hmm.
one of his friends, this guy named D-Man or Demolition Man, said,
Yep.
"Oh, well, I made you this costume just in case you wanted to take up a costume again."
Mm-hmm.
So it's Steve as the captain working, alongside Sam Wilson, alias the Falcon, Jack Monroe, alias Nomad,
Mm-hmm.
D-Man, and this woman named Priscilla, also called Vagabond.
Yep. I think that was Jack Monroe's girlfriend at the time. Yeah.
Oh
So.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, she was, and he suspected her of wanting to two-time him with D-Man. Like, what? Okay,
Sorry, Jack. Like, if only you knew a couple years
yeah,
later about
yeah.
Demolition Man. Yeah, yeah. That he doesn't swing that way. So let's just put it that
No,
way. You know. So.
there's a lot of great stuff in there. A lot
Mhm.
of
Oh,
examinations.
exactly. I mean, yeah,
One
Cap like.
thing the huh?
Oh no, go ahead.
Sorry. One thing the series did is, or one of the things it set out to do was examine patriotism,
Mm-hmm.
because things like that, you can have a light side and a dark side.
Mm-hmm.
So it examined a lot, and also some great storytelling. There's some sad
Yeah.
stuff too in there,
Yeah.
and some
Also
funny
some.
stuff, just all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, and also some good stuff that happened during that era of Steve. I mean, he did the little thing called like lifting a certain hammer during his time as the
Yeah,
captain, right?
yeah. Oh, that was great.
Oh wow. The first ever time like Steve ever lifted Mjolnir audience was when he was wearing the red, white, and black costume. Like
Yeah, like he didn't have his official title. He was, you're a vigilante. Some people would consider you just some random guy, but no, he still
Mhm.
had what it took.
Yep. And he learned a little lesson from his time as Nomad and chose not to use a cape this time. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, Nomad. What? Uh, during the 70s, there was a brief time he became a hero called Nomad, and he stepped down from the mantle voluntarily, and
Yeah.
eventually he realized, oh, well, he had an identity crisis, but something happened that he said, oh, I need to go back to being
Well,
Captain America. So he
yeah.
rediscovered who he was, and that was
We'll,
that.
yeah, we'll definitely talk about what happened to cause Steve to go back to being Cap later on
Oh,
tonight.
yes,
So,
yes,
yeah.
certainly.
hmm But yeah, Nomad. Damn, that was a product of his time, I swear. The I just can never get the image of Cap's V-neck sweater choice. I'm
I have
like,
a Funko Pop of that. So,
just like, what's the meaning behind that, Steve? Like, come on, what's the
I stole
purpose
this
behind that?
costume from an ice skater. No, I'm kidding.
You're not Power Girl, Steve. you know.
Yeah.
So-
And meanwhile, Diamondbacks, I kind of liked the look. Oh, yeah, you would.
Oh yeah, she had the hots for Steve Rogers back in the day, audience. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so all right then. Good picks, Sarah. Kara, sorry. But
Okay.
anyway,
Thank you.
with that out of the way, want to move on to the next one?
Uh huh.
Okay. Next one we're talking about, audience, is the third Captain America, William Nasland, a Philadelphian who was created by Roy Thomas and Frank Robbins. First appeared in Invaders number 4. He was formerly the Spirit of '76 before became Captain America.
Mm
You
hmm.
know, he was. You gotta remember, back in those times, patriotic heroes, they were a thing. You know,
Yeah.
so yeah, when the
It
war
wasn't
happened.
just.
Hmm.
It wasn't just Marvel. DC had some. These independent comic books had
Hmm.
some. So.
Yep. So it made sense for him to want to take up a name like that. You know,
Mm hmm.
you want to see the best of America in front of you. But anyway, so yeah, William Nasland, he had like more dealings with Great Britain during the war, right? Specifically with the Crusaders. He
Oh,
did
yeah.
have, yep, he did have serious beef with the Red Guardian at the time,
Yeah.
mainly because yeah, come on, a pro-American and a pro-Russian. Go on, you know what's going to happen, audience.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Especially at that time period.
Mhm. Definitely, definitely.
I say that
So,
like
what
it
is
went like it just stopped after World War II, and you know what I mean.
exactly, exactly. So, what make what's there to tell about William Nasland? Well, he became Captain America after Steve and Bucky had died. You know, because
Mhm.
remember, as far as the is concerned, Steve and Bucky died in an explosion by Zemo. You know, so the president decided to like have someone else be Captain America since the war was still happening, this and that. So he
They need
chose
a symbol.
William. Exactly. So they chose William Nasland to be it. And also they decided to have another Bucky and to be added with that. And this
Yeah,
Bucky
some
was,
random.
yep,
Go
Fred
ahead.
Davis. Fred Davis, who was a New York Yankee bat boy.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
some
he had like,
random bat boy.
yep, like there was a issue that happened with that involved the actual Bucky having to come back to New York, and he had a brief team up with let's see, with Fred Davis, and yeah, I guess that one skirmish was enough to have the president say, "You're gonna be the next Bucky, kid," and what set him apart was that he was
Mm-hmm.
blonde.
Yeah.
I know that's so minimal, but damn, I just can't see Bucky as a blonde. You know,
Yeah, just imagine, uh, the, like, hey, it's Captain America, and wait, is that the same Bucky? Oh, yeah, I think he just dyed his hair. Oh, okay, works for me.
and wanted to be like his idol, Cap, I guess.
Yeah,
Yep. But anyway, regardless, like, he continued the war effort. Like he was able to still be Cap even after the war was ended. Disclaimer, audience. This is something we kind of have to acknowledge, right?
mm-hmm,
The the next three Captain Americas we're talking about, there is a reason why Marvel had to write them into the canon as being Captain Americas, is because there was a big problem with Captain America during the late 40s, right?
mm-hmm.
It, it's the fact that the war ended. Like, there's only so many stories you could keep telling of Captain America and Bucky going off to fight Hydra or Red Skull or Hitler and this stuff, you know? Especially at a time where America just kind of wants to move on from that.
Yeah,
So,
there was a big drop in superhero comic sales after World War II ended. So,
e-
I
exact, exactly, you know?
yeah,
But they still kept, like, wanting to write stories of Captain America, and they decided to write stories of him, of life after Captain America. I mean, after World War II,
yeah,
which had him fighting commies. Yeah, that didn't last too long, so Marvel ended up canceling Captain America afterwards. And he was canceled for, like, I would like to say, a good decade, until he popped back up again in Avengers in 1964, right?
yeah. Back
Where
when heroes were in vogue again, or starting to become back in vogue again.
exactly. I think it was Stanley who was like saying, this wouldn't be a great way to bring an old time golden age hero like Captain America in." Uh, but this
Yeah,
kind of but this kind of led to a problem, because, like, it established in that issue that Captain America, was in an explosion with Bucky that killed Bucky while Captain America was frozen,
mm-hmm.
but if that's the case, how come we had issues of Captain America, at post-war, and even going as far as to fight communism? The
Like,
answer.
wait, what do you mean he was frozen? I saw him fighting. I saw him smashing commies like 8 years ago. What are you talking
Yep.
about?
That was literally his alias, Captain America Commie Smasher,
Yeah,
So yeah, that's when Marvel said, okay, the answer, we just got other guys to be Captain America during that time period, you know?
yeah.
So yeah, that's what ended up
Like,
happening.
like, like Squidward, Mr. Krabs. Everyone needs an understudy.
Oh, we'll get to understudies soon enough, Kara.
Yeah, yeah,
So, all right. So going back to William Nasland, he had, like, I would like to say, a year or two run as Captain America, until unfortunately he did die in the line of duty. He died.
yeah,
He died trying to save an assassination attempt of John F. Kennedy
yeah,
In July of all months. He was able to stop it, but unfortunately, it was at the cost of his life.
yeah. He
And
he went out like a hero. Just fought until and tried to help others until the very end.
exactly, he didn't have any super soldier serum, but he still gave it his best effort. He did have experience being an established hero before he was Captain America. Spirit of '76. He was already in the front lines of World War II. He did the
Yeah.
best that he could. Hmm.
He filled the role and inspired people.
Hmm.
Like,
Exactly.
oh, look, Captain America is still fighting. That gives me hope. And they didn't know it wasn't the real Captain America. Like I said, they needed a symbol, and he stepped up to the role admirably.
There you go. He died a hero.
Mm-hmm.
hmm There you go. But anyway, I think you got any final thoughts on him, William?
Um, I think my final thoughts on him would be related to the next captain. So
Gotcha.
we could just
Good.
lead into that.
Gotcha. Hold so let me bring up his image. Do 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 do. All right, now we're talking about the next Captain America, Jeffrey Mace.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The original
Before Eli
Patriot audience.
Bradley.
Exactly. It again surprised me how many people didn't realize that there was a Patriot before Eli. But to their credit, I'll say like I wouldn't want to see Jeffrey Mace come back after the way he went out. You know?
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah. So who is Jeffrey Mace audience? Well, he was first a reporter working at none other than the Daily Bugle back in the day. Yeah, that's right, audience. The Daily Bugle was around there in the 40s, apparently.
Yeah, imagine the Bugle existing before J. Joe Majana. You know who I mean. You know,
Yeah, imagine
and
J. Jonah.
JJJ yelling at people.
Imagine Jameson existing during the 40s. Yeah, yeah. Everybody's gonna look at him. That mustache.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
why is this 8-year-old kid ranting about people?
yeah. He's that mustache. He's starting to remind us of a certain person. Like,
And
yeah.
J. Jonah, you'd better say I remind you of Charlie Chaplin because I know you're not comparing me to that guy.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, Jeffrey Mace first appeared in Human Torch #4. He was, let's see, he was created by
Oh, and
Ray Gill and Bill Everett.
also,
Um,
I'd say a lot of people know this already, but we don't mean Human Torch of the Fantastic Four. This isn't Johnny Storm. This is a robot, an
yep.
android superhero. Just in case someone didn't know, I wouldn't want them to think, what does Johnny Storm have to do with World War II?
Hey, I mean, the OG Human Torch, Jim Hammond, he had a spot in comic book history. Y'all want to know what the first ever hero versus hero matchup was?
Mm-hmm.
That was between Jim Hammond and Namor.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, and yeah. There also keep in mind, audience, there was a lot of OGs back in these days. I mean, how many of y'all know that there was actually a Vision before the Android?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, yep. Let
I'm
that
not
sink
sure I
in.
even remembered that myself.
Let me give you a hint. He was a green alien. Imagine how many people are asking, "Are you from Mars?"
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Because Mars is the only place in the universe that has aliens, apparently,
yeah.
according to
That
people in the 40s. So
like,
little
oh, it's a
green
little
men.
green man from Mars. Like, hey, only two of those things are true.
Exactly, exactly. Anyway, going back to Jeffrey Mace, he wanted to do his part in the war effort, but he didn't go overseas to fight the Nazis. Nah, he was more close to home because there was definitely a lot of spies and attempts to invade America from within by the Nazis.
Yeah,
So Jeffrey Mace was the one handling that as Patriot.
I
So
think
okay.
that's neat that there's a difference. Some were fighting overseas, and he was protecting the home front.
Exactly, that's a good comparison. Uh-huh. So yeah, as far as powers goes, again, he doesn't have like any super serum or anything, but he just proved his stones out in the battle, being able to fight Aegis and this and that for a good amount of time. until unfortunately, of course, William Nasland died, right?
Uh-huh.
And it was William Nasland's dying breath who wanted to give the mantle to Jeffrey Mace.
And
And
he also filled the role admirably. There was uh
mhm,
the scene that moves me, the one who thought he had killed the previous Captain America, but then this new, who comes running in? Captain America. He's confused. Said, "Wait, how did you survive? I thought I killed you." So after they after they beat the villain, they go to talk to Cap, and they realize, oh, wait, you're not the uh, you're not Cap. He admitted, no, I'm not Captain America. I'm not even that brave man who's been uh, pretending to be, or who's been serving as him this past year. He revealed
mhm,
his identity and revealed
mhm,
that Captain America died tonight. So they went to where he had been killed so they could retrieve his body.
mhm.
That's my closing comment on the previous Cap. He served well enough that he was honored by the man who was his successor. Like
Yep.
he
I
was
mean,
saying he was or it came across as he was saying he was a better man
he
than I or
his last act as Captain America was literally saving the president of the United States.
yeah,
Yeah.
he acknowledged him as a true hero. And
Mhm.
I think he's a true hero too, because he stepped up and did what needed to be done. He wasn't
Yeah.
chosen to be Captain America. He had to fill in as Captain America.
Yep, yep, exactly. Despite all the weight it comes with it, because keep in mind, in Jeffrey Mace's eyes, two people that he sees that are greater than him took the role of Captain America, and both
Yeah.
of those people died during their run as Captain America. So
Says, what
imagine
chance do
being
I have?
exactly, and for what it was worth, like aside from Steve, like this Jeffrey Mace. He was Captain America for a good number of years, like
Mm-hmm.
into the early 50s. He went as far as to reach retirement when it came to stepping down from Captain America.
Yeah.
Oh, and another interesting note, he did have a Bucky who was Fred Davis, William Nasland's Bucky, you
He
know?
inherited his Bucky.
I know, yeah, I know. Amazing to be bouncing around for sidekicks like that.
I would be worried if I were Fred Davis too, because like you say, he also knows the other previous Caps died or supposedly died.
Hmm. That is true. But hey, not anybody could just be Captain America. So it's big
Right.
shoes to fill.
As some people later on show too.
Hmm. Exactly. But anyway, going back to Jeffrey Mace, he did have he did have a really touching ending because like he lived up to old age, but more importantly, he did pass away through cancer. You know, it was
Yeah.
a very down to earth sort of situation. He lived his life. He wished he could have fought more. I don't know the exact details, but he was able to relive his fights during his last moments. And who pops up right next to him? Steve Rogers himself,
Steve?
who was with, yep,
Yeah.
he was with Jeffrey Mace on his deathbed as Jeffrey Mace slowly passed away. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's like this.
Poignant stuff.
Yep, I mean, there's like this kind of like unwritten rule in comics where if a character legitimately dies of a real life illness, they don't want to have to bring that character back. That's what happened with
Yeah.
Marvell. You know, he too died of cancer,
Yeah.
and that's why they never want to bring him back. So the same is going to be said for Jeffrey Mace, who was just an average guy who passed away due to cancer. And at that point, yeah, his character pretty much is retired after that. Yep. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
what a way to go for him. We did end up seeing him pop up in the MCU. Did you know about that, Kara?
Oh, no.
He was in
Where
Agents of
was that?
Shield.
Oh.
Hmm.
Oh, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Oh, he became. There was a season where he became head of Shield. I was
Oh.
like, oh damn.
Okay, now
He
that's interesting.
Yeah, he went under the superhero alias of the Patriot. He had his own superhero costume and everything. Yeah, it's nothing like the costume he had in the comics. It was more stealth, like all black, leather paddings, this
Oh,
and
yeah.
that, with the shield insignia in the center. But they did like a nice little callback to like how the shield logo is, right? The circle with the bird insignia on it. They
Oh, yeah.
added they added two additional wings to that shield insignia to have a callback to Patriots, eagle mantle. No, is a eagle symbol.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, that is a nice touch right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, in there he did get this. He does have a version of the serum, which is. Are you familiar with Mr. Hyde?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, they had him in the Age of the Shield show, and they defeated him, but they ended up reusing his serum to put on Jeffrey Mace. Unfortunately, the more he used the serum, the shorter his lifespan was coming
Oh,
down. So you're like, God damn it, man! But hey,
yeah.
he went out as a hero at the end of his time there. So yeah, a nice little callback. I like what they did with Jeffrey Mace in that show.
Yeah, sounds good.
Hmm. He was played by the same voice actor of Batman, not Kevin Conroy, but the guy who was in those DC animated movies.
Oh,
Back
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
back when they tried doing a shared animated universe. Yeah,
Mhm.
yep. So yeah, good for him. Oh, all right then. Any final thoughts before we move on, Carol?
Just well, yeah, a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
One, that issue with him taking over, one Captain America getting killed in the line of duty and another replacing him. That issue legitimately made me want to cry. Just, well,
Mm-hmm.
first there's the sacrifice alone, and then two, they tie it into the deaths of John F. Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy. Just some really moving stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I was trying to tell a friend about this, but I could not remember the names of either of the characters. So
That's funny.
I was trying to talk about a poignant scene and it was awkward, like, wait, you're not replacement Captain America? No, I'm replacement Captain America. So it was I tried.
Yeah, yeah. You know. Well, hopefully they'll know after this video who he is. So,
Yeah. Oh, one more thing, not related, but you mentioned Mr. Hyde. There was a
yep.
part in Captain America, the Captain, in which there was a superhero prison break. Steve had to fight Mr. Hyde, and he was angry with Mr. Hyde because, remember, during Avengers Under Siege, Mr. Hyde had poor Jarvis the butler tied up and was hurting him. So Steve was beating up Mr. Hyde and just just yelling at him like, "Oh, why don't you show off that strength that allows you to lick your weight and bound up butlers? How about you show
Bro.
that great strength that allows you to move your bulk to the mess hall twice a day?"
Wow.
So that he was done.
Hmm.
Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers finally said, "F it, I'm not even going to be nice." Another one of the many reasons to read Captain America: The Captain.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, definitely. It does have its more Captain America mythos audience. So yeah, gotcha. Well, speaking about leaving a mark, let's talk about the next guy in the Captain America list, Roscoe Simmons.
Mm-hmm. Wait, did you skip one? Did you skip
Oh
Burnside?
yeah, yeah. Sorry, sorry. William Burnside.
Oh, hang on, I'll be right back. I need to get some more
Yeah,
water.
gotcha. This is what happens when it's live, audience. Come
Yeah.
on, cut some slack. Do-do-do-do, 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 do-do-do. There we go. Just having a water break, audience. Do-do-do-do, 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 do-do-do-do. Ba, 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 boom. Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, I I appreciate it.
No problem. So, alrighty then. As Kara correctly stated, the next person we're talking about is William Burnside. Dang it,
Mm-hmm.
why they have to give two Williams in this legacy of caps?
Yeah.
But all right, William Burnside. First appearance. It is really confusing, audience. You
Yeah, strap
know,
yourselves in. This is quite the ride.
yeah, yeah. When we mentioned the fact that, like, they had to kind of adjust the story, so like post World War II Captain America issues actually being these three guys, that leads to like confusion as to what technically is the first appearance, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because by that standard, this character was an active person. Like, he was the one fighting communism, this and that. But okay, so but he wasn't mentioned by name, and he was masquerading as Steve.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, best not to think about too much. But all right, it's William Burnside.
It was
This,
William Burnside, but nobody knew it.
hmm and yeah, I part of the reason why I also want to do this video, well, when it came to William Burnside, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is known as the villain of the Captain America legacy. Like, do if you want to go and say he's the Hush, yeah, you could say that. For me, he is a tragedy when you look at his story because it
Yeah.
was really hard. Yeah, it was really hard to try finding a flattering picture of William Burnside because the version most people are commonly aware of is when he was the dictator.
Mm-hmm.
The dressed in all white with a Nazi swastika on his arm, stating some racial comments.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to say what they were, but that is not who William Burnside is. He was a tragedy. He was a really big Captain America fanboy. Grew up reading about his stories in World War II, this and that, and he was surprised. He continued on his fanboys well into adulthood, right? Wanted to learn as much as he could about the man, which is why it was heartbreaking for him to hear that Steve Rogers died in World War II, and that you had like two more people masquerading as him. He was like, "Oh man, I did not know that." Imagine hearing
Yeah.
that about your idol. But that didn't stop him from wanting to do more history on him. I mean, for God's sakes, he wrote Captain America thesis papers on his for his university. You
Yeah.
know, like damn.
I just
So,
realized he didn't even get the chance to mourn his idol properly because, like, it wasn't
mhm,
told at the time. Like, oh yeah, Captain America died years ago. It's like, wait, what?
mhm. Exactly. So anyway, still even after this, he's just wanting to find more information he can, which led his research to actually go into Germany. Why
Mm-hmm.
he wants to go to Germany? He wants to hear how Captain America was like from the other side of the war. Which
Mm-hmm.
okay, that's a good way of going about it.
Didn't
See what
didn't
he.
the story say he learned a lot of German expletives by or maybe I'm confused.
Yeah, he had to brush up on his German.
Yeah.
So definitely. So he went to Germany. Of course, a lot of people were talking trash about Captain America. So, but yeah, as far as his research went, he did actually uncover formulas left behind by scientists who were trying to gather what they can to recreate the serum, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So this is what led to his big breakthrough. He's like, "Oh my God, I found the super soldier serum experiment that produced Captain America."
Yeah, it was in
Then,
some random, like some
oh,
minor officer's journal,
oh.
like, oh, by the way, we discovered this formula.
I know, right?
Yeah, it was so
Real
obscure
coincidental.
that no one had had looked at it until Burnside.
Exactly, exactly. So anyway, what does he end up doing this formula? Well, he believes with this formula, I can become the next Captain America.
Mhm.
So yeah, and he pretty much wants the world to see that Steve didn't die. So he decided to go the extra mile and not just inject himself with the formula, but also get plastic surgery, legally change his name, and adjust his vocal cords to
Yeah, I
look,
was going to
sound,
say.
yeah, to look, sound, and identify as Steve Rogers.
Yeah, so that
Yeah.
way they could explain the issues where he looked like Steve, was called Steve, and all that.
Yep, yep. Just one fanboy taking their fanboyism to a whole nother level.
Yeah,
Yep. But during his adventures, he ended up befriending like a student of his because keep in mind, like William Burnside, he's a history teacher, right? And one of his
mhm.
students just happened to be a kid that looked a lot like Bucky himself. So
He was
Jack
the bat boy
Monroe.
for the Yankees. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So anyway, both of them, Jack Monroe too was a big Captain America fanboy. I mean, at this time, who wasn't?
Yeah,
I'm, uh,
national
even
hero.
yep, Uncle Ben and Aunt May, they were big Captain America fans during their younger days. Like,
Yeah, don't they even say J. Jonah Jameson is a Captain America fan?
yep, yep, he's a big idol to a bunch of the older generation audience. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So anyway, they both agreed like, hey, let's give this Captain America run a try. So Jack Monroe got his haircut and wore the costume to look like Bucky, and they both decided to inject themselves with the serum that Nasland found. Now, keep in mind, the serum, it's not a complete version of the serum that was given to Steve, but more importantly, neither of them took Vita rays, which was part of the process.
I
So,
don't think they knew they had to.
yep, yep. So the negative effects didn't happen instantaneously, but it slowly started corrupting their minds,
Yeah,
right?
after years of crime fighting.
Yep, and specifically commies. Because at the
Yeah.
time, like you didn't, the height of the Cold War, you didn't know who was a commie, who could be a spy, who was from Russia.
Mhm.
In William Burnside's case, like that got took into a dangerous level to the point where he started seeing any foreigner as a commie, like minorities or whatever,
Yeah, like
it got.
I think he even considered black people who had been born and raised in America to be foreigners and uh and threats to national security.
Hmm. That is true. Now, keep in mind, this is all because of the serum just screwing over his mind, audience. This is not
Yeah.
who William Burnside truly is. It was just
It's
a
it's like
really bad,
it's like when you have uh
a, ba- a
someone with
badass trip.
Alzheimer's in a home and they say something crazy and it's not them, it's the disease they have.
That's a better example than what I was going to give.
Oh.
So yeah, cool, cool. That's
what what
perfect.
what what were you going to say?
I was going to say it was like a bad acid trip.
Oh, okay. Well, I can see that too, the
Yeah. But yeah. So these two ended up becoming so unhinged that the government had to put them in a cryo freeze because they couldn't
Mhm.
restrain them. Of course, they weren't going to be there for long. Like eventually, they got broken out, and unfortunately, they were in the hands. Well, specifically, William Burnside was in the hands of Dr. Faustus. Dr. Faustus's
Yeah.
whole thing. He's like a psychologist, but he knows how to work the human mind. He knows how to
Yeah,
control the
mental
human mind.
manipulator.
Yep. And that's the amazing thing. He has no powers. He just knows the human mind well that much. Like to give you guys an
Yeah.
example, right? There was a trial of Bucky Barnes when he was Captain America, where like when the public found out that he was a Winter Soldier, they put him on trial to see if he should be punished for his actions. And one of his defenses was the fact that he was being brain controlled. So Faustus was brought in. The prosecutor put him on stand to tell him about like okay, is mind control a real thing, this and that. And what does Faustus do? He changes the tone of his voice and kind of hypnotizes the prosecutor into
Mm.
attacking the judge with his own hammer.
Oh,
So
goodness.
So you're like, and then afterwards, the prosecutor got stopped, but like even the prosecutor's like, but that wasn't me. So you gotta put the prosecutor in a really awkward situation. Okay, so you do see that mind control is a real thing. All right. So
Mhm.
are you to blame for attacking the judge, or am I to blame for telling you to attack the judge?
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, yeah,
Creepy stuff.
Yep. But anyway, Faustus, like what he ended up doing to Burnside, he just put him on the path of no redemption. He turned Burnside into the Grand Dictator, and yeah, that led to that iconic image of him, wearing the all white costume, uh, saying, uh, "A blank America is a strong America." It's
Yeah,
like, ooh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Wearing the swastika on his arm too.
I
Yeah,
was
what I'm
so
trying to
shocked
say.
the first time I saw him in that outfit, like, "Wait,
Yeah, yeah,
why is there a Captain America wearing a swastika?"
I know, right? That was just really messed up. But again, audience, he had two whammies that screwed over his legacy from here on out. He was a good man. He was a huge Captain America fanboy. He wanted to do good for his country. Unfortunately, that got corrupted. You know.
Yeah, he started out with good intentions.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then pretty much afterwards, his fight with Steve Rogers, he appeared to have died in a bomb, but he did get brought back during the events of Brubaker's run.
Mhm.
I'll elaborate more on that, but William Burnside was basically the villain of Bucky during that time. But yeah, we'll talk more on that later. He had his own Man Out of Time story during that run, where
Yeah,
he did break free from Faustus and Red Skull, and he just took the time to just like look at America, like what it is today now. Like this was his first time taking everything in. Like as far as he was concerned, this was still the 50s. But
yeah,
god dang, so much has changed. He even paid Peggy Carter a visit. And keep in mind, this was at a time when Peggy Carter was still an old lady, pretty much on her deathbed, you know?
yeah.
So, all right then. Um, you got any thoughts, Kara?
Um, like you said, it really is a tragic story. It's also an
Hmm.
interesting way of of retconning history. Like, oh no, that wasn't really Steve Rogers after all. It was this guy, and the reason he disappeared was he had a bad reaction to the serum. So there are
Hmm.
worse ways to do a retcon.
Exactly, exactly. It wasn't the cleanest way, but given the circumstances, like I don't know if you could ever make it make sense. Like again, his first appearance is convoluted as hell. What constituted
Yeah,
his first appearance? You know, Like,
yeah.
so
Like
yeah,
you go to the Marvel wiki, and it's complicated.
yeah, he doesn't die, but he is in a facility to get therapy for for all the mess up stuff that happened in his head at the end of
Yeah,
Brubaker's run. It's a quote unquote happy end, as good of a happy ending as you can get for him. We've never seen him pop up since then. So yeah, yeah.
yeah. It is
Oh,
acknowledged that uh, he's not treated as, oh, look at this evil terrible person. It's, oh, maybe he can get help and become like he once was.
exactly. We all want to see him. We all hope like every Captain America's trio of a happy ending or some amount of respect at the end of the day.
Uh-huh.
That's true. But anyway, think we spoke enough about William. Should we move on to
Yeah.
the next? All right. Oh, just got a comment. Holla! Did you guys read the comic book called Danny Phantom: A Glitch in Time yet? We're going to discuss that for next Tuesday. Today is just a special live stream dedicated to the legacies of the Captain Americas, um, specifically for Fourth of July. So yeah, holla! Tune in, join us next Tuesday for that. We'll definitely be reading and discussing that. So yeah. Alrighty then. With that, we'll move on to the next Captain America on the list. Now, appropriately, Roscoe Simons. Probably
Uh-huh.
probably the shortest lived Captain America, but for good reasons.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, so who was Roscoe Simmons? Your run the mill average Joe who was a big fan of Captain America. You know, and when Steve himself turned down the costume and went to being Nomad, it was this guy who took it upon himself to be the next Captain America in his honor. Again, he doesn't have like any special enhancements or anything. He's semi good at fighting. He was one of the few people that Steve himself gave his blessing to being the next Cap. You know, he
Yeah,
even
he was
yep,
just a fit young man whose heart was in the right place.
yep. He was even given Cap's shield and everything. You're like,
Mhm.
dang. And even like, Falcon himself was like, okay, if you're gonna do this, kid, I'm gonna teach you the ropes, man. He's gonna be like helping guide Roscoe in this. It's unfortunate that his first mainstream villain that he fought was the Red Skull.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
what a team up. A matchup, I
Yep.
mean.
Yep. So Red Skull ends up capturing both Sam and Roscoe, and he was so pissed off at the fact that one of his plans was used on the fake Captain America that
Yeah.
Red Skull just went full Jason Todd on Roscoe. Like, beat him to a bloody pulp while having Sam watch, and he ends up
Mm.
tying his body into the chimney of a rooftop. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
like one
for
of the most.
Steve to find.
Yeah, the audience, like, you might have seen this image before. There's like a cover of Captain America where it looks like he got crucified on a chimney.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was the death of Roscoe
He sent a
Simmons.
message.
Yep. So,
He was playing for keeps.
yep. Of course, when Steve comes in, to save Falcon, and then he sees that the corpse of Roscoe, Steve had like a breakdown of that. Like, he couldn't
Oh,
believe what
he
he
was
just saw.
horrified.
Yeah, like, God dang. And it was like that sort of traumatic experience that had Steve say, "I'm gonna go back to being Captain America because, like, this carries weight to it. Not just anybody could be Captain America. It comes with
Yeah.
risks, and I don't want to have to see another person go down the way Roscoe did.
Yeah.
Damn, damn. It's kind of like a little sad that that's what Roscoe's really known for. But yeah, you gotta understand this. Villains will play for keeps, and you're gonna be dealing with Nazis in Captain America's.
Yeah.
If you're calling yourself Cap. Do you expect any
Yeah.
mercy from a Nazi? Seriously? Like,
Like they're
so
not just
yeah.
going to club you over the head and walk away and be done with it.
hmm Yeah. I mean, these aren't like Joker from. This isn't like Joker from Batman, where he wants to keep the fight continuing throughout the whole life. No, no. If Red Skull has a chance, he will gun down Steve Rogers. You know, without a moment's
Yeah.
hesitation. hmm But okay, let's see. Try and see. Other known facts about Roscoe Simmons: he was created by Steven Englehart and Sal Buscema. First appeared in Captain America 178. Doo-doo-doo. Oh, and he also had a Brooklyn accent, audience. Keep that in
Yeah, you
mind.
notice in the speech
Yep.
balloon there.
Yeah, it's me, Roscoe. Just like I told you, I'm the new CA. Like, I,
Mm-hmm.
I can't do a Brooklyn accent. I could try doing a Nazi accent. I just can't do a Brooklyn. So, yeah, yeah. That is it, audience. Really not much to talk about Roscoe. Again, it was a very short run. So,
Well,
yeah.
I have a couple things to say.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, well, really, I guess it's just one thing in two parts. One, Roscoe was acknowledged as someone who really wanted to help out, good heart and all that. And
Mm-hmm.
two, he was an example of why not just anyone can be Captain America. Fun fact, in this storyline, there were a couple people thought, oh, I want to try being Cap. Like the one
Mm-hmm.
guy
Poor thing.
tried, made himself a costume. He fell and I think broke his arm first night out.
Yeah, there was like a couple
Another guy
burglars. Mm-hmm.
said, oh, I'm going to try being Cap. And I think he was beat up by street thugs his
Yeah.
first night. So Roscoe is the only one that was acknowledged as worthy of filling in for Captain America. And
Mm-hmm.
even that wasn't good enough. That's why
Yeah.
I don't like these. Oh, anybody can be Captain America. It's like,
Mm,
well, uh, no, they can't. They can step up
exactly.
and do good things and help people, but that's that's not enough to be Captain America.
Exactly. I mean, heck, even characters like John, Bucky, and Sam, with all the powers of all the skills they have, they struggled to carry the weight
Yeah,
of Captain America? Makes you think an average Joe like
right.
us could do. No?
You can't buy a costume from Party City and, oh, I'm Captain America now.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Gotcha. Oh, let me see.
Oh, and
Hala,
I think there was
Hala.
also what you mentioned. Red Skull went full Jason Todd. I think there was a part in which Sam Wilson said, "Oh, maybe we have a Boy Wonder on our hands." Well, that wasn't good enough, you know.
Wow. Wonder how he lasted this long. um, oh, just want to read what Hala is saying. Tom Kenny, the voice
Uh-huh.
actor of SpongeBob SquarePants, and Debbie Derryberry is the voice actor of Jimmy Neutron, and Tara Strong is the voice actor of Timmy Turner, and Dave Kaufman is the voice actor of Danny Phantom. Good bit of tidbits to know, you know? But alright then, with that, I think we should move on. Tara, you want to do the honors?
Oh, yes, sir.
Go ahead.
John Walker started out as Super Patriot 2. I learned there was a previous Super Patriot. I know they have a lot of that you need a scorecard. Now,
imagine, imagine if he just went by Patriot.
yeah, like,
Fun
hey, wait
fact.
a minute. Well, at the time, he had an ego
Yep.
on
You know,
him, so yeah,
fun
it's like,
fact. Fun fun fact.
huh?
When Captain America was created, right? They originally wanted to call him
Uh-huh.
Super America, but they realized like, yeah, super is being overused at this moment, especially by one
Yeah.
specific other guy. So they just changed it to Captain. So I guess they
So,
decided to
one
reuse
thing,
him. Hmm. Go ahead.
yeah, that Super America sounds more like a gas station chain or something, to be frank.
There you go. There you go. But all right then.
One thing I'd like to know with John Walker before we begin, I only trust him written by certain writers. If it's
Same.
a writer who cares about characterization and plot development, character development, all that, then it makes for some good reading. If it's written by someone who clearly doesn't care, then it's awful. So I'm a fan, but I only trust him with certain writers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
Same.
so you hear, oh, there's a U.S. agent story, and it's either going to be really good or it's just going to be gosh awful trash.
Gotcha. John's just he's mishandled by a lot of modern day writers, you know? That's the real
Yeah.
tragedy of it.
They look at
Mm,
him as just some angry white guy, and he's so much more than
mm,
that.
mm,
It's going to be shocking that I bring this up during the segment about John Walker, but
mm-hmm,
there was a song from a My Little Pony cartoon. You don't know the
mm-hmm.
boy like I do. I feel that uh that applies. Like, oh, it's just some angry white guys. That you don't know the boy like I do. Okay, without
Uh,
further ado, he was created by the late great Mark Grunwald.
mm-hmm,
And it's interesting. He started out as Grunwald decided, oh, what if we explore the dark side of patriotism and have a
yep,
patriotic villain?
yep,
People, patriotism could be a virtue, but you can take a
mm,
virtue so far it becomes a vice.
yep.
So
And keep in
John
mind, this is
Walker
like the
first.
writer. They keep in mind, like, this was like during the time when characters like Wolverine and Punisher were being popular characters, right? So Grunwald kind of
Oh,
wanted to
yes,
explore
yes.
that, like
In fact,
heroes that are
short
hardcore. Hmm.
exactly.
Hmm.
Not too long before Super Patriot appeared, they had the Scourge storyline, and with these
Hmm.
villains being killed, they wondered, oh, could Punisher be behind this? So the Punisher had been established as a character prior to this, so it was around that same time.
Mm-hmm.
And a few years later, they also explored that with uh, Azrael replacing Bruce Wayne as Batman.
Yep.
So when Super Patriot first appeared, he challenged Captain America, said, "Oh, I'm a better symbol of this country than you
Yeah.
are."
Yeah. He
So
saw Steve as
they
like.
had a skirmish with
No, go ahead.
what's that?
No, go ahead.
They had a skirmish, but it ended up broken up. Well, Steve was rattled because there's this guy, he's actually stronger than he is, so it shakes his confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So he, Walker started out, you could see there were some, he put on a great show, but you could see there was stuff going behind the scenes. Like, there was this trio, the Bold Urban Commandos, that were pretending to be Captain America fanboys and messing with people, and really they were friends of his trying to make Captain America look bad.
Mm-hmm.
So not off to a great start. Well,
Yep.
as we mentioned earlier, Steve Rogers had to relinquish his title. Short around the same time, Super Patriot had stopped this terrorist in Washington, D.C. So there,
Yeah.
the Commission on Superhuman Activities was trying to find a replacement, and one of them said, "Oh, well, how about this guy that stopped this terrorist? You know, he's a patriotic hero, and obviously he can do stuff."
Mm-hmm.
So they summoned. He was appearing on a talk show,
Mm-hmm.
and he was summoned. They asked, "Oh, could you tell us about yourself?" And he was suspicious, but he told them his story. Said, "Oh, I'm John Walker from Georgia. My brother Mikey was a soldier who died in Vietnam. I I was inspired by him and wanted to be a hero, so I joined the army, but the war was over by then." And it shows him, stereotypical soldier scene. There he was peeling potatoes, like, "Oh, I wish I could do something."
Mm-hmm.
So he went to this guy named the Power Broker and had this cell augmentation treatment. It made him super strong, super durable. Just heightened all his physical abilities.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it also made him heal faster.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
made him
It was.
superhuman.
It
That's
was more
another
of a.
thing. Would you like to read the message first?
Let's see. Oh, hold on a sec. Okay. Caroline Lawrence shares the same voice actor as Cindy Vortex and Sandy Cheeks. Cool.
Okay.
Nice. Anyway, continue on, Carol.
Oh, yes, that's another sign that things were going on, because he admitted he had the uh, cell augmentation procedure, but on the talk show he said, like, "Oh, it was just my natural abilities." Like, you dang liar.
Then
Well,
might as well be saying I'm powered up by patriotism. That's
yeah,
why I have the name. Like, you know?
I drink Eagles tears. Oh no, that would be never mind. Well, she admitted, "Oh, we're interested in you because we're thinking about making you the replacement Captain America." Well, he got a
Oh.
laugh at that because there he'd been criticizing the old Captain America.
He would
he
frequently call him Old Man America to
yeah.
Steve. Yeah.
Uh, he said, "Oh, ma'am, if Uncle Sam told me to, oh, what is the line? Like it
Mm.
was something like if Uncle Sam told me to be Mickey Mouse, I'd do it."
Aw.
So he went to his manager at a moment of humility for John.
Mm-hmm.
He told his agent or manager probably the same thing. And he said, "Oh, you should make some demands," he uh and also he said you should have them make the bold urban commandos your your teammates, make them give them government positions too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, John had a lot to think about, so he ignored him and went on a jog to clear his head. Captain America had a hotline. He said, "Oh, hey, they're asking me to be your replacement. I'd like to talk to you."
Mm-hmm.
Steve never showed up, and I've written a fan fiction about that, but for some reason Steve didn't show up. Well, John reassured the Boulder Urban Commandos, the Buckies. "Oh, don't worry, I'll look out for you." Well, they put John through a test run, and he passed. So they said, "Oh, well, you're Captain America, but we looked into your friends, and uh, some of them seem shady, so you can only have one of them be your sidekick. Is that an issue?" He thought about it, to consider, and he said no. So that's when things start to go downhill.
Oh yeah.
Well, John started out having an ego, being selfish and such, but he genuinely did try. He looked at old footage of Captain America and trained with the Taskmaster so he could learn to handle the shield and all that.
Yep.
They had various tests, like there was this terrorist group, the Watchdogs, uh, and he stopped one of their operations and
Mm.
had them arrested.
Yep.
Uh, there were a lot of situations. There was one he had done something he shouldn't have, but instead of trying to cover for it, he thought, "Oh, well, Cap would own up to what he did," so he confessed, "Oh, yeah, I did this thing I wasn't supposed to." So it
Mm-hmm.
so it started off, he really did try, but unfortunately things started to go downhill. He and uh his sidekick's real name was uh before we go
Oh.
any further, would you like to address the Lamar situation?
Okay. Yeah, the Lamar. Okay, I just want to bring this up. The creator of John Walker, Grunwald, was it right? Kara?
Yes.
Grunwald. Okay, audience. He had the best of intentions when it came to Lamar. Okay, so when he already decided he was going to be making another Captain America, he thought it will make sense if he had a new Bucky to go along with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is where Lamar Hoskins comes in, and he didn't want, for lack of a better term, for the next Bucky to just be another white guy because you've already had like three so far. You've already had,
Yeah.
James Buchanan Barnes, Davis, you had Jack Monroe. So he decided to do something different to shake it up, and he made the next Bucky Lamar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted to do something a little different too by kind of like beefing Lamar up. So he gave him the same augmentations that John has, as well as a few other things, and kind of make him like, the most powerful version of Bucky.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, that Kate, both of those concepts ended up biting him in the butt because this was a fan who actually wrote to Marvel about Captain America, right? About the fact that there is that the term "buck" is a derogatory term to describe black men during the slave auctions. So the fact that uh, Captain America now has a black man as his Bucky, it's yeah, you get where I'm going with this audience.
Yeah, not a
But
little boy either. It's a grown
yeah,
man. Just big
yeah, that
muscular man.
yeah, that was also another thing because like, he had good intentions about wanting to give this version of Bucky a new set of an upgrade set of attributes, but in doing so, here's the thing. You made Lamar's around the same age as John. He has the same combat experience as John. He has the same serum as John, and he has his own shield. But
Mm-hmm.
he's given the sidekick mantle in this situation. So yeah, two giant whammies to where Grunwald, like, he quickly tried to rectify that. He had a character come in to talk to Lamar, pretty much echoing everything that one fan wrote to him about. There's not many black heroes out there. Then, it should mean a lot to see you, but you're taking the mantle of a sidekick, this and that. And Lamar's like, okay, I never thought of it that way, but you're right. So he quickly went on and took on a new name by that, which is Battlestar. So
And a
cooler
new
name in that
costume
sense.
too.
Exactly. New costume, new name. Yeah, yeah. There you go. But yeah, that's just a lingering thing that's always been shadowing Lamar's whole introduction into this era of Cap. So
Yeah.
again, writer had good intentions, audience. So yeah, you continue on, Kara.
So the one of the next serious missions was they had to stop this villain named Professor Power. They fought past his guards and his killer robots and all that. Well, they thought they had him, and Professor Power shot an energy beam or something at John, and John lost it. He said, "No more robots, no more." Sorry, my voice is.
Yeah, yeah, understood,
Just, no
understood.
more robots, no more. Do you
He,
hear me? And was pummeling him, and then suddenly he realized this man is dead. He had accidentally beaten someone to death because he was just so powerful and he lost his temper.
hmm
So another sign, oh, this, things are going downhill.
yep,
Well, if not too long after that, they had an official press conference to introduce Captain America and Battlestar, and
yeah,
it was respectful, although misleading. He had to do a cover story. He said, after years of service, the original Captain America retired.
mm,
Not the exact truth, but it's what they had to say.
yep,
Well, who comes crashing the press conference? The other two bold urban commandos, the ones
yep,
who had been left
yep.
behind, now calling themselves left winger and right winger.
A little on the nose, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, well, there's two of us, so. Well, they announced in front of God and everybody that, oh, hey, this is John Walker from Custer's Grove, Georgia. They almost told Battlestar's identity too, but they got stopped before that.
Yeah, John stopped them before he docks Lamar too. You
Yeah,
know.
the
Mhm.
left winger and right winger, the original doxers.
Uh-huh.
So,
That's true.
like long before that scene in Injustice or wherever it was, where Clark was texting everybody, Batman is Bruce Wayne. We had Hector and Jack, I believe their names were, telling John's business.
Yep.
Well, uh, the watchdogs were sore about John stopping them before, so they kidnapped his parents. His poor parents did not know that their son had become a costumed superhero. So
Yep.
just innocent, unknowing, and all this. So they took his parents hostage, says, oh, come here, we'll kill your parents.
Yep.
Well, he tried to stop them, but his parents ended up just one of the most emotional scenes.
Oh,
His
one of the
parents
darkest.
got shot to death.
Yeah, this is like
Well,
one of the darkest. Hmm. Go ahead.
he went on a berserker rampage, just very well illustrated. It's one of those where I don't think you actually see anything, but because of
Mhm.
shadows and all that, you just can tell everything
Yeah, they
that
tried their best.
happened.
They tried their best to censor it because keep in mind, John Walker literally impaled a guy with a pitchfork, while another
Yeah.
guy he beat him over the head with a barrel of that person's gun. Like he went full Negan on them.
Oh,
Like, oof,
yeah.
oof, wow. This was like one of the darkest moments in Captain America comics when,
Yeah, and
yeah,
uh, not only is it uh horrifying, it's also sad because at the end he's he's so out of it. He's killed or injured all the watchdogs there, and he's kneeling down
hmm,
talking to his parents' bodies like, Ma, Pa, I saved you. Oh, you don't have to thank me. That's what a son, just totally out of it. Like, oh my gosh, just
hmm,
powerful stuff. So, um, it, his mental state really declines after that.
great.
If if I if I didn't stop myself, I'd just spend a whole hour, or maybe not that long, but um, I'd just spend like half an hour talking about that. So um, I'm going to skip a lot and move
Yep.
forward. Uh, it becomes apparent that someone is behind the scenes pulling the strings. I'm not going to say who it is. I don't want to reveal anything
Hmm.
to me, but it turns out that this whole thing was organized to besmirch the name of Captain America. Like the
Yep.
mastermind knew that, sorry, all this stuff was going to happen. So, yeah, basically ruined John's poor life, uh, making him a pawn in his game. It leads to a fight between Steve Rogers as the captain and John Walker as Captain America.
Hmm.
Well, after the dust settles, Steve says, "Oh, you can go ahead and keep being Captain America. I can still serve in my own way."
Hmm.
So he starts to leave, but John stops him. He said, "Wait, I'm tired of having to live up to you all the time. Go ahead and take the mantle back. So
Yeah.
Steve
He doesn't.
becomes Captain America again.
Yeah, because like
Well,
another
at the
thing John
present,
also mentioned. Oh, another thing John also
uh-huh.
mentions that he doesn't want anybody else to be. They're going to fire him regardless, and he doesn't want anybody else like him to be
Oh,
uh taking up the
yeah,
mantle. So.
yeah. I'm glad you brought that up.
Hmm.
Well, they fake John's death and give him a new alias, Jack Daniels.
Yeah, like the beer
And
audience.
yeah, he becomes a hero called U.S. Agent. And
Yay.
there's so much to talk about. Um, but I will say this: some of you might be thinking, "Well, I hear you say he was a villain. He was egotistical. He was shady. He uh, did all this stuff. He killed people. Why are you a fan of his?" Because it's so much more than
Hmm.
that. There is so much to the character than the bad things he did. This is another
Yep.
reason why I recommend Captain America: Scourge of the Underworld. There are parts uh, showing U.S. Agent wanting redemption. He realizes he did things in his past that he's not proud of. So he
Yeah.
wants to be a better version of himself. He has actual character development. He started
Hmm.
out as this guy. Uh, Originally, he did want to be a hero to live up to his brother's legacy, but then that became corrupted, and he wanted glory. But then he
Yeah.
realized, oh no, I really do want to be a hero. Like he's I've said this will sound disrespectful, but I mean this with the utmost respect.
Oh.
Steve and John, you look at them, both have post traumatic stress disorder up the wazoo.
Yep.
They're, I said that what makes them human, and what makes me fans of them. They're these characters who had troubled pasts, and they have things they're dealing with, and uh, they've resolved to become heroes. There are parts with John being heroic. They look at him as just some tough, brash guy, but there are times when he can be caring. There was this scene when he was on the West Coast Avengers.
Yeah.
There were these protesters protesting pesticide use, and he starts clearing them. I don't think he literally says "get out of here, you dirty hippie," but it's implied in his tone. But then he sees one of them has uh, something wrong. He notices they have something wrong with their faces. He asks, oh, "Wait, what happened to you?" And they said, "Oh, that's that stuff they sprayed. They this stuff did this to us." And John asked the government agent who told him to get rid of them, "What have you been spraying on these people?" So he went from like, "Oh, you have to get out of here, go on out of here," to being concerned and speaking up on their behalf. So that's one
Hmm.
example.
Yep. Yeah, there's a heart underneath in John audience, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I've mentioned to you before there was an issue that had a flashback to when his parents were killed. He says, "I kneel beside the bodies of my gentle, loving parents." So he does
Hmm.
not uh, look down on gentleness or on being
Yeah.
loving. He just isn't
Yeah.
openly displaying those qualities a lot of the time.
Yeah. symbolizes in his shield too, because there are times where he actually has a picture of his parents inside his shield, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a rough exterior, but there's a hard interior, you know?
Yeah, I
So,
just wish more writers would realize that.
yeah, it's just unfortunate. Yeah, John's a very mishandled character by today's standards, but he was written properly in the past before, like moments like you just mentioned, Kara. So, doo-doo-doo. Yeah. I'm trying to think what else is there to talk about John. Doo-doo-doo. Yeah, give some respect to John, audience. You guys call forgive Hawkeye and Black Widow for what they did, but hey, John, he wants to be a hero just like his brother did, you know? So, alright then. Kara? Kara, you there? Ooh, okay. Seems like I lost my co-host. Just give it a minute or two before we move on. Okay. Well, anyway, as far as book recommendations go, I would definitely recommend giving to Dark Rain Thunderbolts a try if you want to see a properly written John. Yeah, it's a mini series, but it handled John for at least one good issue, you know? Like that's one of the moments I liked about him when he joined the Thunderbolts. And yeah, he was not playing around. Even though he's on a team full of villains, he still wants them to be upholding the law, this and that, you know? So, alright then. Did you do what else? Do boo boo boo. Alrighty, what else to talk about, John? Marvel tried to replace him with a diverse U.S. agent that didn't really last too long. So yeah, alright then. I guess with that, I guess I can move on to the next one. Do-do-do. Next person on the list, Bucky Barnes. Yeah, as far as his era of Captain America goes, he came out there in the height of the Ed Brubaker run, which was about the best that character's ever been written as. Marvel really has struggled to find a way to bring Bucky up to that level after that. So, as far as his contributions to his era, he was most known for holding a gun during his time as Captain America by choice. That caused a little bit of controversy when it came out because hey, you see Captain America with a gun. Oh, people are like, Captain America doesn't use guns. I mean, it got to a point where there was even a PSA towards the one of the issues of Captain America where Bucky actually has to be acknowledged that and saying, yeah, Steve used plenty of weaponry during World War II, right? And plus, he does have to adjust his battle style because Steve was a master when it came to his shield, Oh, Brand Carback. Hold on a sec. Kara, you there?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry, I guess internet connections or what?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah,
tried to post what happened and it wouldn't let me. There's some sort of internet issues for a minute there.
gotcha. Dang, already moved on to Bucky. Is there anything you want to say, John? Closing that.
Um I just that he's more complex than people realize, and I wish
Mhm.
more people would understand that.
Yep. Just because he's conservative and loves America doesn't mean he's the enemy. to the writers. Come on, writers, stop
Yeah.
it. But
And also, what bothers me too is people say things about him they don't say about other characters, like uh, John Walker killed people. You're horrible. Wolverine kills people, or the Punisher. Hey, awesome! Like, well, wait a minute.
do you know how many Nazis had that been killed by Captain America during this time? Come on.
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
not
yep.
not advocating. Uh, not saying John shouldn't be criticized for anything. Just
Hmm.
well, just if you say it about him, say it about other characters too. Don't have a double standard.
Yep, yep. Y'all celebrate Wolverine for, how he rampages with those claws. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. He could be a little offensive when it comes to the Shield. Like that's like the two sides of the same coin thing between Steve and John.
Mm-hmm.
My old buddy Philly Superman once made an example saying like, Steve, he's more of a reactive sort of guy, responding to crises. John would be sort to be more proactive,
Mm-hmm.
jump in the line of action.
That's why he was on Force Works, I think.
Exactly, exactly. And alright then. With that, you want to move on to the next cap? Or
Uh-huh.
you have any final thoughts? All right. Well, audience, now let's properly go on to the next topic, which is Bucky Barnes. You know, his time as Captain America. What can I say about Bucky? Well, as I said before, this was during the height of the Ed Brubaker run. You know, this was about the best his character's ever been written. As a matter of fact, ever since Brubaker left, it seems like Marvel has struggled to find out what they can do with Bucky since then.
Mm-hmm.
As far as his era as Captain America goes, like there was like I think this was a controversy a lot of people kind of forgot about, but some people thought it was inappropriate that Bucky chose to use a gun during his time as Cap. I don't know if you recall this, Kara.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it got so big to the point where in one of the issues, right, there had to be like a PSA moment at the back of the issue where you have an a reporter interviewing the new Captain America about like his use of a gun, and Bucky was actually saying that well Steve used plenty of weaponry during World War II,
Mm-hmm.
and more to it than that. But Steve, Bucky has to acknowledge, look, I'm not like Steve. He has skills I just don't have pertaining to the shield because Bucky, he keep in mind, he doesn't have the serum audience. All his skills are just his own. I mean, the closest thing he got to his serum was the Infinity Formula, that does nothing but just slow your aging. That's it. And that was later on in Bucky's life.
Mm-hmm. He has
So
the metal arm, but that just gives
that's
him
it.
strength in that arm.
Exactly. So he kind of has to use the metal arm to kind of give his shield throw an extra oomph to it, to at least be
Mm-hmm.
comparable to how hard Steve could toss the shield. And even then, Bucky is not doesn't do the whole ricocheting of the shield as good as Steve does. But he is handy with a gun, so that's why he chooses to have that with him. It's kind of
Uh-huh.
counterbalance him on his low points. Yep,
Now, why didn't they just say, "Oh, police officers have guns,"
I know, right?
or army, soldiers?
Mm-hmm. I know, right? But I feel like this was a good enough response to to combat that criticism of Bucky
Yeah,
using the gun.
it's not like what was that movie? Death Wish, with Charles Bronson. It's not like Death Wish.
Exactly. And plus, Bucky's one of the top sharpshooters out there. He
Mm-hmm.
may he not all his shots are going to be aiming to kill. He knows where to hit. He knows where to wound and knows where to kill.
Yeah, let him
So
show his skills.
exactly. As far as his era of Captain America goes, he had an interesting era where one of his rivals during that time were characters like William Burnside himself, who came back and kind of haunts Bucky since, this was right around the time Steve himself was dead. So to
Yeah,
have a Steve lookalike who has the same strength level as him come out and be a villain to him, yeah,
another
that
man out of time.
exactly. Yeah, that can mess with anybody's mind, especially when Burnside went as far as to blackmail Bucky into wearing his original costume again. I'm like, God damn it, dude.
Hmm. Oh, one thing we were talking about William Burnside and Jack Monroe earlier, and I just realized during that it's a good thing that Jack already looked like Bucky, so he didn't need surgery. That would have been too weird.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's like, remember, at that time, Bucky was on the level of Uncle Ben. He was a
Yeah.
character that Marvel stated they would never bring back. So
Hmm.
that's why the character of Jack Monroe was kind of there as a placeholder to kind of show Bucky growing up,
Yeah.
in the Cap, still in the Cap family.
And
Unfortunately, as when Marvel gave the green light to bring Bucky back from the dead, yeah, that kind of meant that they had to get rid of Jack Monroe, and that they literally had Bucky, still as the Winter Soldier, come out and assassinate Jack Monroe. I'm
yeah,
like, God, that,
like,
damn,
well, no need for two Bucky.
yeah, yeah, really sad, really sad. And as a matter of fact, like when Bucky went back to being the Winter Soldier, he had a comic series afterwards, written by Ed
Hmm.
Brubaker again, and dealing with like a former agent in the Red Room that he personally trained. That person ended up being like the ongoing villain that run, and
Oh, yeah.
he goes on to kill Frank Davis.
Oh, goodness,
Yeah,
no.
yeah. Now that he since Davis is an old man right now. Keep in mind he was the Bucky the two Captain Americas.
Yeah.
So just to mess with Bucky's mind, he goes off and kills the old man. Like,
And
God damn, dude.
meanwhile, Battlestar is thinking, well, I feel lucky for some reason.
Yeah, came
Yeah.
close, came close. But yeah, uh, this version of Bucky never really had a partner. I mean, he did have Black Widow with him, but yeah, she was more than a partner. Let's put it that way, audience.
Yeah.
So I like those two as a couple. They had this Romeo and Juliet angle with them.
Yeah.
So. But of course, status quos and whatnot. Eventually, Bucky had to go back to being Winter Soldier, while Steve had to go back to taking the shield back. So,
Yeah.
yeah. hmm He left an impression. He left an impression. So, alrighty then. With
That's
that,
it's another example of a former sidekick having to take up a mantle. We've seen the storyline before. Not saying that's a bad thing, just saying that's just following a tradition.
toys back in the toy box and all that.
Oh yeah.
hmm But hope sick. Yeah.
Like
Alrighty
Dick
then.
Grayson having to go back to being Nightwing. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, he got to go. He got to grow out of Robin at least.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, at this point, At this current time with Bucky's status in the comics, I wouldn't mind Bucky going back to being a Winter Soldier. I just want to get
Yeah,
rid of. I just got. I just want to get rid of that whole revolutionary business. So,
yeah. Find
uh,
your own path and find a path that ignores that whole terrible storyline.
hopefully so. Hopefully so. But alrighty then. Well, with that, we got one more Captain America to end the night with, and
Mm-hmm.
it's last but not least, Sam Wilson.
Another sidekick stepping up to take the hero role.
Yeah, that's true. But like again, he has the qualities. Like I would say he has justification for being the next Cap, given like the fact that he was with Steve for so long. They trained with each other. They've
Yeah.
gone on missions together. Like he has experience. He has a resume. You know.
Oh, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, just saying that's
Mm-hmm.
someone uh, yet again stepping up to fill a role. I I
Mm-hmm.
know there are people who criticize it,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know how well done the storylines are, but
All right.
like you say, he's been fighting alongside Cap for literal decades. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
he just picked some random guy. You're my replacement. No, he showed he had heroic chops.
Yep. Yep. That's true. Yeah, experience under his belt. And, they did have to do like some adjust. I like what they had to do in terms of his fighting style. Same with Bucky when it came to a gun. Sam, they can't do the same trick shots with the shield that Steve could, right?
Uh
So
huh.
when it comes to going out in combat, he throws a shield, and he actually has Redwing go and retrieve it for him.
That's a
During the
strong
mission combat.
bird.
Oh yeah. Oh, keep in mind, like during his first arc as Captain America, Red Wing gets bitten by Baron Blood and has vampire DNA in him now.
I heard about that with like he had a sidekick, Joaquin Torres, that became a new
Yeah.
Falcon. Said,
Hmm.
"Oh, he's stuck in part bird form because uh something about Red Wing.
Yeah.
It turned out to be a vampire." Like, I'm sorry, what? Like, how
Yeah, that's
long has
why
Red Wing been a vampire? Oh goodness. So
towards the end of Rick Remender's run on Captain America. Yeah.
okay.
So he also, I mean, he also gave well, not Rick Remender, but Nick Spencer, right? He
Uh
also
huh.
gave more adjustments to Sam Wilson, like with Red Wing, he hooked him up with a sonic blaster.
Oh, okay.
Okay, okay, so Red Wing got a bit of an upgrade too.
I
Don't forget
imagine
that.
I'd give my bird an upgrade if it got bitten by a vampire too. Like that was Baron Blood just saying,
Yeah.
you know what? Forget you and your stupid bird.
Look, dude, there's like a point where you see Sam Wilson interrogating a guy in the air, and he's being held by Red Wing.
Oh goodness.
Like, okay, okay, there you go. You got a couple upgrades there, Sam. Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Yeah. But in terms of like, I don't know if you knew this, but this was Rick Menner who said this years later, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Marvel decided we're going to have Sam Wilson be the next Captain America, they actually wanted Sam Wilson to give up the wings and
Hmm.
kind of be like a standard traditional Cap. And it was actually Rick Remender who was pushing for Sam to keep the wings.
Yeah, I
How?
like how Bucky and Sam are doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're they're serving as
Adjustment.
Captain America, but they have things that set them apart.
Exactly. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Eh, it's kind of sad when you hear that Rick Remender really wasn't given the credit he was deserving of his involvement with Sam Wilson. Because
Yeah.
he was not invited at all to the screening of Endgame or even
Oh,
Falcon and Winter Soldier, despite the fact that
hmm.
he's the one who wrote the run of Sam Wilson being Cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so sad. But
They
anyway,
really just don't care.
mm-hmm. Yeah, but anyway, going back to Sam Wilson himself, I feel like towards this isn't like when we were trying to do research on William Nasland or Jeffrey Mace because like those characters were haven't been popping up at all in the past several decades, so we really have to go refresh our minds and like relook up at what their statuses and claims were. With
Yeah.
characters like Sam, yeah, with characters like Sam Wilson and Bucky, yeah, they've had a fair amount of spotlights in which I think the general public knows a good chunk of their backgrounds and stories, you know.
Uh-huh.
And Sam Wilson even had a tussle with a U.S. agent at one point, you know,
Uh-huh.
a goodly written one too. He was
Yes.
able to beat U.S. agent, but it made sense because like John he was kicking the crap out of Sam until Sam realized he had to play dirty. So he grabbed John and had the fight be taken to a tunnel. Like keep in mind, this is at nighttime at
Mm-hmm.
New York, you know. So and the only things I could see in this tunnel are the owls. And
Yeah.
Sam with his connection to birds can see through the eyes of an owl. So yeah, that was one of the more justifiable defeats of John. You know.
Yeah, that I was going to say there was a reason behind it. It's not just, oh hey, let's dump on John. There was an actual
hmm
story involved. Like he didn't fight him out of meanness or jealousy. There was a reason.
hmm There you go. I mean, also in terms of like story recommendations I could give to Sam, I would I would recommend reading the Tochi Buchi run of Captain America, the symbol of truth, right?
Mm-hmm.
That second arc, oh god damn, that really was an emotional one. Sam was put through the ringer in his fight against White Wolf. It was like, damn, it was like their final battle was like a boss battle with flames engulfing the whole area, you know? Because
Mm.
at this point, White Wolf did a lot of harm to Sam, you know?
But he
Not
kept
just
going, didn't he?
he kept going. I mean, like, he turned Joaquin into a monster. This was like his version of Catwolf by
Yeah.
amplifying the monster side of Joaquin to where Joaquin was even attacking Sam, you know? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, god damn. I'll definitely
You
give that
don't
book a
you don't
read.
mess with someone's sidekick like that.
Oh yeah, especially after, uh, in Joaquin's words, it was speculated that in his burst of rage, he actually killed his family.
Oh goodness.
I was like, oh shoot. There
Yeah.
came there came one moment in the end of the fight between Sam and White Wolf where Sam, he knocked White Wolf out, and right now he was about to land the death blow until Ian Rogers stopped Sam, and Ian's like saying, "Stop! You're going to kill him," and Sam just screams out in rage, "Why shouldn't I kill him? He turned Joaquin into that monster. He instilled civil war into his own nation.
Mm-hmm.
He tried weaponizing black people uh, by giving them a virus. Why shouldn't I kill him right here, right now? It's because you wield the shield.
Yeah.
It's because you're Captain America." And like, damn, those words alone, man, those words alone was enough to calm Sam down. And yeah, there was a lot of emotions going in that run, is what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say. So,
It
yeah,
sounds it.
yep. But yeah. Any thoughts, Kara, on Sam?
Um just trying to think cuz I was thinking of something I'd like to say about the Captain's America in general.
Mm-hmm.
One thing, there's also controversy in the MCU because in the MCU, he uh, Sam got the shield first. In the comics,
Mm-hmm.
Bucky got it before him, so they explored his. They had an arc about redemption and
Mm-hmm.
uh, overcoming the past to fill a heroic role. So
Yep. Yep.
when Bucky didn't get that in the MCU or hasn't yet, people said, "Well, wait, how about giving giving MCU Bucky his redemption arc?" So
Yeah.
uh, that's another controversy.
Yeah, I mean, there were definitely two roads Marvel could have gone with that between Sam and Bucky, and in terms of like, Bucky being Cap before Sam, we just had like this whole video discussion on like all the Captain Americas proceeding up to modern time, in
Uh huh.
order. Yeah, like even if you want to say like, Bucky should have been Captain America before Sam, well, technically it should have been John before Sam in chronological
Well,
order
yeah,
and
that
than that. Yeah, so yeah, there is that. Yeah, I can imagine. I'm okay with like them going with Sam and like them trying to give Bucky the whole. I'm trying to figure my life out first. You know, that was
yeah.
showing like Falcon and Winter Soldier. He has just some personal issues he wants to go through first. And adding the responsibility of being Captain America would just only add to the um, amount of things he has to cover first. Like all the people he's killed, all the lives he's destroyed, like him trying to find a life in this world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's just my standpoints on that whole situation.
So my thoughts on Sam being Captain America. One, like I said, he's fought alongside Cap and proved his mettle, so he's shown himself
Hmm.
there. And two, he appreciates what the role means. He knows he
Hmm.
has. He knows about the legacy, so I
Hmm.
I don't have an issue. I just want good stories to come out of it. If
That's true.
they just have bad stories, then it feels
Mhm.
like a waste.
Yep. I mean, we definitely know Sam's going to be put through the ringer. I mean, he's fighting a Hulk in the foreseeable future,
Oh goodness.
So not just
Was
any
Hulk
Hulk, but a
bitten by
red
a
one.
vampire falcon too?
Oh, that's the one thing that's my personal controversy. The fact that the MCU decided to trade the bird Red Wing with a drone. Like, give me my
Yeah,
bird, man. Like, you couldn't even let Joaquin be a Falcon hybrid. You had to have Joaquin have literally Sam's old wings. Oh, like, God dang it.
like the drone is named Red Wing. That's good, right?
Hmm.
No, it's okay, I guess.
I guess, yeah. But alrighty then. Any final thoughts, Carol?
Uh, yeah, I think each version of Captain America symbolized something.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the title represents the strength of America, American values, and all that, like
Mm-hmm.
freedom. But you look at them, and they all uh, represent something. Not saying each one represents a different thing. Just there are also other things they represent, like the two who served late 40s, early 50s. They were uh, they were about sacrifice and filling
upholding
a
the legacy.
heroic, stepping up to be a hero.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Isaiah, it could represent continuing on and fighting for something, even though people have wronged you.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there are even some negative interpretations, like uh, William Burnside and at one point John Walker were, uh, oh, you have to, if you're not careful, you can you can let your ideals become corrupted.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just thinking about that.
All right.
There's what the role symbolizes, and then the people who fill the role can symbolize things too.
Exactly. I mean, I'm still confident. Like in my lifetime, we will see a tenth proper Captain America after Sam's time is done. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah,
it's interesting to see who that person is.
it'll be interesting. Hopefully, a well done storyline.
Yeah, That's what we all hope for.
Now, these, thankfully, they all had good storylines overall.
Good
Not
Cap.
saying every storyline involving these characters was good. Some of them sucked, but overall they had good stories. Like, not you don't look at any of these and think, "Oh, well, that arc sucked."
That's true. But already, I think we got through all the Americas.
Uh-huh.
We did it.
Yay.
Alrighty. You want to plug in your socials before we close out, Kara?
Um I don't really have socials.
Gotcha. Neither do I. But
Um
anyway, audience, like, go follow us on Twitter or X, whatever it's calling itself.
yeah.
Comic Book Addict 69. And please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Which Captain America is your favorite, audience? Let us know.
I think I've
So,
shown where my favoritism lies.
well, I appreciate each one for what they contributed, So
Yeah.
everyone had something else to offer, and I value all of them equally.
You don't
So
look at any of them and think, well, that was pointless.
there you go, there you go. But alright then, think that's where we should close out for tonight. Thank you
Okay.
to all those who joined us, and we'll be seeing you next time.
Well, thank you
Bye.
very much for having me.
Not a problem. It's always a pleasure to have you here, Kara.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
all right. With that, audience, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Happy 4th and have a blessed night, everybody.